Welcome back to the Horse Racing Show. I'm Kenny Rice. Thank you for tuning in, watching us, and listening on YouTube, listening on Google Play, iTunes, 93.9 in Louisville. We have several more stations lined up very soon, thanks to the 22 countries that have downloaded this show each week. And a lot of you go back and listen to some of the shows we've had. And one of the guys I know you're going to listen to, not now, but go back and listen again, because we promise great guests, news-making guests each week, big personalities, and none better than Mike Repole, a friend of mine for years, and the winning owner of Vino Rosso in the Breeders' Cup Classic. Mike, thanks for being on with us, and congratulations.
Thanks, Kenny, and that sounds great. Classic win of Vino Rosso. It's still surreal.
And it's the thing is, you waited a while, didn't you? It's like 2011 the last time you were in a Breeders' Cup?
It was 2011. Obviously, we had Uncle Mo in 2010, and I got second with Stop Shopping Maria in the filly and mare turf race, and we had Mo and Thirsty in the Classic, and I always said I want to come back to these races, and but I always want to come back with. I think you know me, Kenny. I love to win, and I could probably come to the Breeders' Cup every year with a 20-1 or 30-1 or 40-1, and I just I want to be in the right spot, and I want to do right by the horses, and I want to put me and my team in a position to win the big races.
And Vino Rosso was trained so well by Todd Pletcher, obviously a future Hall of Famer. You put him in the right spots. I mean, everything was building, I thought, to this moment. And I saw you at the hotel there in Pasadena, and you had great confidence, as you should, in Vino Rosso.
It was. I mean, this is the most confident. I mean, me and Todd have been friends for 11 years, and from Uncle Mo to even Stop Charging Maria to Outwork to all the great horses that we've owned. Stay Thirsty. This is probably the most confident I've ever seen him. He came out of the Jockey Gold Cup, and he just got better and better and better. And after every work, Todd would say, "Man, I wish the race was tomorrow. Man, I wish the race was tomorrow." And actually gave me more anxiety than I usually have, because how many times in your life are you going to have, a chance to be in the Classic, a chance to win the Classic, and then, when they open up that gate, Kenny, I mean, better than anyone, anything can happen. I mean, look at Dennis's moment in the Juvenile, 3-5, 4-5, and, if he probably breaks clean, he probably wins by 6 or 7, and the race is over before it starts.
When were you able to exhale, Mike, when you saw that he gets out of the gate good, he's sitting good? When did you start thinking, all right, I'm sitting in the position now, exactly what we want?
My OCD, my ADD, my anxiety. I mean, I played this race in my head, probably 3,000 times. And me and Todd spoke about it. Vinny and I spoke about it. Irad and I spoke about it. And you know what? We thought we were so happy with the post. We thought we would break a well. The goal was to have him up close. It looked like, the track favored anything. You didn't have to be on the lead, but you need to be up close. First turn, great shape. We were sitting fourth. McKenzie was ahead of us on the inside. And the way we played this in our head was eventually McKenzie's going to make his winning move. And that's when Irad's got to make his winning move. And the first goal is to get by McKenzie. And if we're lucky to get by McKenzie, get ready, because Code of Honor, Alate, and Yoshida, they all might be coming with a big close. So Irad was in a position he had, where he knew he was going to make a middle move, and then he had to hope that there was nobody behind him. And, I was confident probably, I'm going to say 98% of the race. There was a little time where when McKenzie started to sputter away, maybe at the 3/8 pole, and we were just about to make the turn, I thought they got a little bit away from us, but Irad took a little bit of a look back, and probably within a 6-second period, he made up 6 lengths. So he went from down 10 to down 3 really, really quickly. And then we got to the top of the stretch, and it started to feel really good right there, to be honest with you.
Oh, he was rolling when he came to the stretch. It was at that time I realized that he was going to win it. Not that I had total confidence when you told me at 5:46 Pacific time. You told me, I think on Thursday, you're going to be celebrating a victory, and you were the prophet.
It was. I saw you on Friday after the races, and we were in the Westin lobby, and I saw you, and obviously we've been good friends for a bunch of years, and I said, at 5:46, I said, just get ready, you'll be interviewing me, and I was a little disappointed it wasn't you interviewing me, but I totally understand. I mean, there's so many great NBC guys down there, but I just had so much confidence, and it wasn't just so much just Todd. I mean, I went to the track on Wednesday, and people who I knew and didn't know kept saying your horse looks amazing. The barn, all the great people that work in Todd's barn, Fernando the exercise rider, Martinez groom, Isabel who's been with Todd for over 15 years. Everybody was raving about him, and it just you knew the horse was going to run great. You just didn't know, was there going to be someone who also had a spectacular day? And listen, we planned this 5.5, 6 months ago when we sent him out here for the Gold Cup and Memorial Day weekend and get a race over the track, and we knew that when he won that, he would like the track, and a lot of horses had questions on whether they would like the track or not. We didn't have that question.
What I thought was so great about it, with all that's gone on this year, and I'm going to dwell on that and all, but you have, and they always say, when's the star coming? Why can't horses stay around? Here you have a 4-year-old. He comes back this year. You run him this year. He has a great season. He's certainly in the mix for Horse of the Year, and he wins the Breeders' Cup Classic. And I think that's a lot of credit to Mike Repole, who I'm talking to, and co-owner Vinny Viola and trainer Todd Pletcher, and all that's involved with Vino Rosso.
Yeah, well, that means a lot. And Vinny and I, and obviously with Todd, when he disappointed a little bit last year in the Travers, we made a very conscious decision he's going to be better, as a 4-year-old than he'll be as a 3-year-old. Let's bring him down to, Jim Coopy's farm, and God rest his soul. I mean, obviously, Jimmy picked out Vino Rosso for both Vinny and I, and we gave him a little, 3 to 4 month vacation. He got back to Todd maybe in early February, and I think he ran, 5 or 6 amazing races this year, all winning efforts, and some he was the best and some he wasn't. But, being a son of curling, you would think that he'd develop, but you really don't know until you do it. And he's definitely rewarded us. And Todd's done an amazing job with him, and Vinny and I could not be any happier.
You're growing up in Queens, New York. You're getting that sports information degree from St. John's. Mike Repole, did you think, I'm going to be one of the more successful, famous owners in the decades several years ago?
I'm totally blessed. I mean, I always say think big, dream bigger, and so I've had these lofty goals my whole life, but I would say things at 15 and 20 that most 15 and 20-year-old kids wouldn't say, but we put a lot of hard work. God's been great. I've been blessed. I've been lucky. Hire incredible people. My racing manager, Jim Martin, and Ed Rosen doing an amazing job. They have, 50 years of horse experience, which is my age. Jim Krupe, God rest his soul, passed away at 79, was doing this for 50, 60, 70 years, his whole life. And Todd, him and his family have been in it for years. And, and Johnny Velasquez rode this horse for probably 85-90% of his career, and he deserves a piece of this. And Irad rode him the last 2 times, and Todd's barn. And listen, success is best when shared, but surround yourself with great people who know how to win at the high level, and the rest will take care of itself.
Well, that's what you've done in your business, right? I mean, you made money selling water. I mean, this is a great story.
Yeah, listen, again, I've always talked about the team and the brand, and whether it was Vitamin Water, or whether it was Pirates Booty, or whether it's Body Armor Sport Drink right now that probably can be the number 1 sport drink by 2025. That would be like winning another Breeders' Cup Classic. Just hire great people who are really, really smart, that have the right work ethic and believe in a system and believe in a dream, and let's just go work together and go get it. And we've been very, very blessed. And for me, it's always all my companies, everybody's a shareholder. Everyone that's around, the entourage comes from my grandmother who's 93, who had to watch at home because
God
California was
bless her.
too far for her. Yeah, I'm so fortunate. She's been there at all the big races, and last couple of years she can't travel as much. And and my wife Maria, who's been with me for over 20 years, and and now we have a new member of the entourage, my 4.5-year-old daughter Joya, who loves the races, and win or lose, she's just like my wife Maria. I mean, they celebrate no matter what. So does my entourage. I only celebrate when we win, but blessed all around, Kenny. Blessed all around.
Well, we're blessed to have Mike Repole with us. Mike, can you stay with us just a shade longer? Take a quick break, and we're talking with Mike Repole, always successful in life, in horse racing, and is the Breeders' Cup Classic champ. More with Mike right after this. Welcome back to the Horse Racing Show. I'm Kenny Rice. Thank you for joining us. Delighted to have Mike Repole with us. I've known him for a long time. I don't know, Uncle Mo, Stay Thirsty, something. No, I know I interviewed you at Stay Thirsty up at the Travers. I remember that day. It was blazing hot. But Mike's been a friend, and you cannot be around him and not be happy. He has that kind of contagious happiness that you always have, win or lose. Obviously, it's great to win. That's the goal. But, you guys always have a good time at the track, Mike.
Listen, my dad was a waiter. My mom was a seamstress. They were born in Italy. For us just to be in this country, for us to be having this success, there wasn't one winner and 10 losers in the Classic. Anybody that participated in the race, all the connections, the horses, the owners, the trainers, the jockeys, the bonds. It's a celebration. Think of this. There's 30,000 horses born every year and 11 run in the Classic. How can you not celebrate, that? Is it nerve-wracking? Do you want to win? When you win, does my beautiful entourage take it to another level? Yeah, we do that. But you know what? Listen, the parties after the races, you'd be surprised they're not that much different, win or lose, because we just know how blessed we are and how lucky we are, and we really do take one day at a time and really do appreciate and just soak in moments like this, and we just scratch our head on how blessed we are.
Yeah, I was trying to get to you, and honestly, I was enjoying from not that far away watching the entourage celebrate Vino Rosso's victory, Mike. That had to be one of the great celebrations. I know our camera guys were loving it. They were telling me afterward, they said, nobody has more fun. I said, I can imagine the camera should follow the Repole party all the way through the evening. The video will be spectacular.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of, from my wife and all her friends and her entourage and my sister-in-laws and my aunts, a lot of laughing, a lot of dancing, a lot of drinking Vino Rosso all night, and the next day makes for a little bit of a tough day, but it's well worth it. It's well worth it.
Any idea how much Vino Rosso was consumed that night? You probably, I don't know if you could even keep a count.
No, we keep a count because I get the bill at the end of the night, and and in this case, in one of these rare cases, the purse offset the bill, so I feel good about that. But it seems like wherever we have one of these celebrations, the manager always comes to me and says, "I've been here 14 years, and that's the highest bill in the restaurant history." So we seem to break records post races also.
It's like the old joke at the track, right? I've hit 6 out of 7 races. If I hit the 8th race, I'll break even.
Exactly. I need to win the race just to break even at night. Exactly.
Mike has, he is a successful businessman. He has something to say about the industry. You have, I wouldn't say outspoken, but you certainly have talked about a commissioner and having some structure in the sport and looking down the road as a good businessman would do. About the sport of racing, especially in this year, Mike, that, Vino Rosso brought us such joy, but we know it's been a tough year overall.
Yeah, I think it's been a terrible year for obviously the sport. I think honestly we've been a national embarrassment. Kenny, you know me for over almost 10 years now. In 2011, I was very clear that if the industry doesn't make changes, in 10 years, this sport's going to be in deep trouble. And, we are 8, and I'm very concerned about the future of the sport over the next 2 to 4 years. There seems to be stubbornness about evolution and change. There seems to be a stubbornness about doing things differently. Obviously the number one, concern of the industry is the safety of the horses. That has to be the number one concern, and it's very, very sad. Obviously, I didn't know what happened to Mongolian Groom until I was in the interview room.
Right.
It took a little bit away from doing something epic and historic when it was. I felt so sad for the horse. I felt so sad for the connections of the horse. And, here I am, with my family, and we're celebrating, and I can't even imagine what those poor connections are going through right now. And that's the toughest part of this industry and the saddest part of the industry. But there's other parts of the industry that we've not gotten right. And for some reason, the industry doesn't want to, the old guard doesn't just want to change. And, it's either going to be forced by somebody else, which is not going to be pleasant. But I've been asking for a national governing body, a national commissioner that, at the end of the day is here to oversight the sport and not make decisions that are best for owners or breeders or horses or jockeys or trainers, but the industry as a whole. No one is looking at the industry as a whole. And, we need to start doing it, because when Santa Anita has issues, the whole industry has issues. When there's a jockey issue, everybody has an issue. And I really hope over the next, 6 months, we really start to look into making some major changes. And, everybody has to get together, but, it doesn't seem like, it's – I've built businesses on working together, and I don't feel like we have that right now in the industry. And I think if we don't make a drastic change, probably within the next year, I think the sport is going to be in worse shape in the next 2 to 4 years.
I think you've nailed it. And, it's been good to me. It was my entree into national television. But, there's too many of them out there, too many of the guys. They know who they are. They're the guys that don't come on this show. They're still living in the 50s, boxing, baseball, and horses. And, it ain't the case anymore. And that's why it's good. That's why you're so refreshing, by the way, when you came on. It's good to see people celebrate and not look like they're sad that they just want to race or have this decorum about them that they're, at a perpetual golf tournament.
Yeah, no, it's funny you said that, because when I was in my late 30s and then early 40s, and we would have these kind of incredible celebrations in Uncle Mo and Stay Thirsty, we were almost frowned upon. Like who let these guys in?
I know.
These guys weren't invited to the club, and you know what? I've always told my friends, I've always told my entourage, be yourself, man. We're gonna celebrate wins, and when we lose, we high five the people that are walking through the winner's circle. Right. We congratulate Bob Baffert who walks by, and Chad Brown who walks by, and when Todd wins with another owners, I'm happy for those, because that feeling is a great feeling, and sometimes you're going to be there. And 80% of the time, you're probably not going to be there. So I think it's great. And, for me, success is best when shared. And, of course, I want to win every race. But I also know that if I win 20% of the races, we're going to lose 80% of the time. And I do think I have watched over the last 10 years, the celebrations of other owners have been a little bit more vocal. And I think my entourage has been the trendsetter for those type of celebrations. So, go out there, have a great time, and listen, they don't always come around, and especially a win like the Classic. It's a once in a lifetime, and it's a dream win.
Mike Repole continues to raise the bar. You think you got the horse of the year in Vino Rosso?
I think we got the older horse of the year, and at the end of the day, there's so many great horses that did so many great things. I'm not gonna go out there and then campaign for him. The way he won the Classic in an amazing style. Not only was it 4.5 lengths back to McKinsey, it was another 4.5 lengths back to Higher Power. They were spread out. The track was a demanding track. I do know that I have the the best horse in the country today. Whether he has a full resume for Horse of the Year, I'm not so sure. And honestly, that's not up to my decision. And it'd be great, but for me, I'm just so happy for the horse because he needed a big win on a big stage. Winning the Wood Memorial was nice. Winning the California Gold Cup was nice. But, this horse is taking my family and friends on a ride. He took us to the Derby, he took us to the Belmont Stakes, he's taken us to the Jim Dandy, he's taken us to the Travers,
Yeah.
He's taken us to all these big races. Just because he didn't win one doesn't mean he wasn't a great horse, even if he lost the Classic. And, for him to get that on that day when everybody, not only in America, but globally is watching was amazing. And honestly, incredible job by Todd Pletcher, who, you know what, he hasn't had the easiest of years the last year.
Right.
Everyone's used to Todd winning every single race, and all of a sudden, he's in a slump because he hasn't won every single Grade 1 or Grade 2, Grade 3 out there. But this was special for him, his barn, his team, his assistant trainers, the entire barn. Truly, I've said it to him. I'm happier for Todd than I am for myself. I mean, he is a guy who, gets to the barn at 3:30 in the morning. It's 7 days a week, 365, and to be part of his first Classic win, man, that means a lot. I mean, where this isn't an owner-trainer relationship. This is now two friends, and he can say whatever he wants to me. I can say whatever I want to him, and he's not gonna get rid of my horses, and I'm not gonna take them away. So we're stuck with each other. So that's our relationship.
And I'm glad that you are. Two great guys in the sport. And Mike, did we have fun today? I knew we'd have fun when you showed up.
I appreciate it, Kenny. It's always fun, and win or lose, man. Life is too short. Let's just enjoy the ride, and thank God for our blessings.
Well, I appreciate your friendship. It was a great run to watch Vino Rosso all year, capping it off with the Classic, and we will have you on again, Mr. Mike Repole.
Thank you, Kenny. I appreciate it. Have an awesome day.
All right, thank you. More to come here on the Horse Racing Show.